Joining us right now, Congressman Jeff Miller. He's the chairman of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. Jeff, my old friend, or let me be formal here, Mr. Chairman, thanks very much for your time. And I wish the topics we had to discuss were not so serious, to tell you the truth. The stories we have heard out of my old state of Arizona and the VA hospital there in Phoenix, very disturbing. You're investigating this. Give us the facts as you understand them right now, and what is the committee working to do?
Well, first, let me say thank you for allowing me to come on today. I have now reached the pinnacle of my career by being on your show. You're a great friend, and sure do miss you. We've enjoyed some great times, not only in Washington, but with you coming down to the district. But I know we're here to talk about some things that are very serious as it relates to the veterans of your region. But interestingly enough, J.D., it's not just Phoenix where we have problems. By VA's own admission, they have had 23 preventable deaths around the country, from Florida to Virginia, Georgia, South Carolina, West Virginia, Ohio, and, of course, in Phoenix, Colorado, and Iowa. And, of course, the one that is getting the most attention right now from a lot of folks is Phoenix, where the facts are there is a dual list. VA says that we're misinterpreting the purpose of the list. I don't know why you would have two lists, but there are two, and from what we can tell, the intent was to mask the waiting times for veterans to get in to see their physicians. And once they got within the window that VA sets as their goal, then they would put them on, quote, the real list, and that would make it appear, of course, that the waiting times had dropped at Phoenix. We've got some real good, people that have come forward, that have testified. Of course, the Office of Inspector General is involved now. We asked them to get involved. It's really funny. VA is trying to claim credit for bringing in the Office of Inspector General now. We've been working on this thing for about a year, and, finally, after a hearing here on Capitol Hill, we decided if they weren't going to be honest with us in their testimony, or if they weren't going to tell the briefers or the people that were testifying the truth, then we'd have to have the Office of Inspector General get involved.
Well, this has been a lament of veterans since before my days in Congress, Jeff, and now with this apparent willful deception on the part of the VA health system. What is next? What is the committee prepared to do?
Well, a couple things, and let's first put veterans at ease. The 300+ thousand people that work at the Department of Veterans Affairs, the vast majority of them are doing the right thing for the right reason. They are taking care of veterans in the right way every day. And unfortunately, you've got a few out there that are causing an agency that has probably got one of the noblest tasks of all of federal government to get a black eye. What we are doing, of course, we're working in collaboration with both Senators McCain and Flake. I talked to Jeff yesterday afternoon about the issues. We are providing information to the Office of Inspector General. They are doing the due diligence that's necessary now to put their report out. I have no idea when they will be able to make that report public, but I know that Jeff had said that they are trying to, make sure that they do this expeditiously, and I certainly appreciate that. The president needs to be involved. This is one of those things where really the only person that can make the biggest difference is the person at the top of the food chain. That's the president. He has been AWOL on issues for a long time as it relates to the veterans. Yes, you see Mrs. Biden and Mrs. Obama out doing things, but we've asked the president for a long time to get involved and press on the secretary to make sure that the people at the mid-level leadership positions do what they're supposed to do instead of trying to outweight the leadership that's above them. And I think, J.D., that's the biggest problem. You've got people that have been in their jobs for many, many years, and they know I'm only going to be chairman of the VA committee for 6 years because I term out. They know that the secretary is, limited in the time that he'll be there. They know that the president is limited in the time that he'll be in office, and all they have to do is outweight those folks, and they can start this process all over again and start blowing smoke at the new folks that come into these positions.
Well, it would seem, Jeff, and we have several other topics to talk about, but it seems that there is going to have to be some action taken to clear out the deadwood, to end the deception, and we know you will continue that work in oversight and investigation there on the Veterans Affairs Committee. Let me turn...
Well, JD, real quick, let me tell you, and I have actually got a bill right now, talking about clearing out the deadwood, that gives the secretary the ability to fire at will the people at the SES or senior executive level. Those folks should work at will, just like a congressional staffer. If you don't do your job, I should be able to fire you, period. And the secretary says it's not necessary. He's also got the tools that he needs to do that. But the problem is you're more apt to get a bonus at VA right now than you are to be disciplined.
Let me turn to your other assignment, or one of your other assignments on the House Armed Services Committee. We are now hearing what is termed the smoking gun Benghazi email. Jeff Miller, in your mind, was there an active cover-up of what transpired at Benghazi, and what should happen now?
Well, I think the biggest problem is that the State Department was woefully ill-prepared for what transpired. You can go backwards now and say, hey, the ambassador never should have been in Benghazi. They did not have enough security, not only in Benghazi, but certainly in Tripoli. The military basically had left. Remember, this was a country that we had just gone to war and deposed their dictator out of that country. And, it was very unstable. And to do what was going on was, in my opinion, and I will tell you this, the ambassador loved the people of Libya. He really, really did. And I think, unfortunately, he took a gamble, and it cost him his life to be there at the time he was. Look, nobody thought that this was part of reaction to an internet video that took place, and we have tried to get them to admit that that was not the cause. And now you have a smoking gun out there directly from the White House that's told Susan Rice, here's the narrative that you need to go out there and sell, and it's on the run, when in fact Al-Qaeda was growing in that particular area, and they knew that, but they would not tell the truth. Here's the sad thing. You and I want to tell the truth. We don't want to gray around the lines, but unfortunately this administration not only walks that gray line, they cross it all the time, and they're not upfront and honest with the American people, and that's not what the American people want to hear from their commander-in-chief.
Jeff, only about a minute and a half left. We'd be remiss if we didn't ask about your other assignment on the House Intelligence Committee. It's rumored that you may be in line to become the chairman of that committee in the next Congress. Can you update us on that?
Well, J.D., it's an honor to even have my name mentioned as the potential chairman. I enjoy, obviously, serving as the chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee. I have 2 more years to serve in that committee. This is a John Boehner or a speaker-only appointment. And so he will be the person, and should he ask me to serve him in that capacity, I would be more than honored.
All right, Jeff, we've got that duly noted. Before we let you go, final minute, let's take a look at the radar. Your home district, I can't even see the name Pensacola because of all the storm activity. How much rain has fallen on your constituents in the past few hours?
The last word I got was 17 inches in the past 30 hours, but it is now flooding again there. And some of the photographs that I have seen from the district that are just devastating to what it's done to transportation arteries, major transportation arteries in and around the 1st Congressional District. We had one person that we know of is dead that actually drowned, and there was so much rain coming so fast there was nowhere for it to go.
We know you'll have a lot of work back home when you get to the 1st District, Pensacola and its environs. Congressman Jeff Miller, for your update on the VA healthcare system, your update on Benghazi and what's happening at home in your district, we thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, my friend. Good to talk to you.
And it is good to talk to Jeff Miller. Now, interesting what he talked about in terms of his bill to offer corrective action in the VA. Imagine this: the Secretary of Veterans Affairs being able to fire workers who have not been doing their jobs. And it takes an act of Congress. Again, let me tell you what's gone on. Since Jack Kennedy signed the executive order in 1963 allowing federal workers to unionize, you have had a situation across the width and breadth of the government bureaucracy where people who have not been doing their jobs are able to stay ineffective and incompetent and very much in charge. I've chronicled for you the situation where people would come in talking about civil service reform, saying under current policy, if someone is accused of wrongdoing, they can go through a series of hearings that in some cases can last 6 years. 6 years sound familiar? Oh yeah, from your civics class you'll recall 6 years is the length of a term in the United States Senate. John, it is absolutely insane. I appreciate what Jeff Miller's trying to do for the bill, but this needs to come across the width and breadth of the Washington bureaucracy.
We talked about the same thing with the IRS. They have to get approval from the union before they can fire somebody in the middle management positions in the union. And now you have this example where a congressman has to get a bill passed by Congress in order to be able to fire people for not doing their jobs. It gets to the heart of what you were talking about, the problem with employee unions in the federal government. One quick note, JD, we were talking about the minimum wage vote that was supposed to be in the Senate today. Well, Republicans have blocked it. Looks like they couldn't get those 6 Republicans to support the presidential priority. Minimum wage dying in the Senate today. What will the president do from here? More executive action, you think?
Oh, he will do what he can. One thing's for sure, I know he's not going to do a thing to those VA workers who are members of a union. You can rest assured there.
Can't.
The minimum wage fight will remain because it polls so well for the Ds. Lots more straight ahead here on America's Forum. Please stay with us.